What's going on, guys? It's Kenny Buller here, your host with the most on the Second Floor podcast. Here we are on season 2, talking about how to survive in life, health, and fitness. Today, I am super stoked and excited to bring to you the owner and founder of KB&Co, as well as Eat Plants, the one and only Kristina Botelho. Kristina is somebody who I fortunately have now the opportunity of calling a friend. Her and I have connected, and we have immediately felt a super raw connection and understanding for the power of manifestation. She's somebody on today's episode who's going to speak very deeply about the certain nuances associated with what manifestation looks like. She's going to talk a little bit about how she feels it's better to focus on doing the best possible job as opposed to doing better than your competitors. You know, if I can really give you an idea of where we navigate that conversation, we talk a lot about the wellness aspect of health and really bringing it back to yourself. And Kristina, fortunately, is able to tell us, our audience, and myself in this episode, her experience of how much therapy has personally helped her have more reflection and have more of a deeper understanding for herself to put herself first. And lastly, we talk about something huge that she has been pretty much still doing, and that's working through being open during the pandemic. She talked about having the option of closing down and not at all choosing that option, and pretty much letting us know how she rode that storm during the times where pretty much everyone shut down. And other than that, I want to save the other details and the juicy tactics and strategies that Kristina talked about in our really graceful conversation. And I'm just excited for you to listen to this. She's a joy to be around. You're going to really get a good, solid sense of the energy she brings to the table. And without further ado, let's dive in.
Yeah, I'm becoming a bigger fan of not overthinking things, strategically thinking things and just showing up. I've learned that in therapy.
I like that.
She goes, KB, how about you try not to go into it overthinking things?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also been like a habit for me for many years. And it's kind of played out okay.
Yeah.
So it's hard to change that when you feel like the results have been positive.
Yeah.
Where you just like show up. Just show up.
That's a big thing too, is I find sometimes we're already so, like, we're so in fear of like what it's going to be like when we show up.
Yeah.
And we're constantly thinking of
Yes.
how prepared are we and
Yeah.
how unprepared are we. But the element of just recognizing that, okay, step one, if I just show up and I do a good job, if I make that happen first, then let's see where it takes me.
Right? Yeah.
Like, what was something you felt like that? And as we're live now and we're rolling, it just kind of naturally happened.
Oh,
but yeah, we're rolling.
We're rolling.
Okay,
I felt
wasn't
like-
sure. I thought you were gonna start.
Oh, I thought it
Usually
was
do your
already
clap.
on. Wasn't it
This
already
is
on?
rolling. This one is.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
I felt like I thought it just
Let's get it
naturally
rolling.
happened.
Okay, now it's
But
rolling.
Now
yeah,
it's
sure.
rolling.
Well,
I'll step out.
now we're
Everything's
rolling.
all
Yeah,
good.
that's fine.
Okay,
That's okay.
please.
I felt like we were rolling as soon as we started
Oh,
talking about cakes, but then
I-
usually I let the guests know anyway. But I just in my
We're
head.
rolling. We're rolling.
I'll be back in about an hour.
Okay.
Thanks, Omen. I
Okay.
appreciate
Yeah,
it,
nice to
brother.
meet you.
See you
Nice to
soon,
meet you.
man.
Yeah, everything's good.
If we keep the cakes part, I'm happy because that was a
Oh,
really
you should-
cool.
You should.
It was like perfect timing the way we started. But
Yeah, it was.
we'll dive in. We'll dive
Let's dive in.
in. Welcome, first of all.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for coming. Honestly, Kristina, like when I look back and I think about one guest that I've wanted to have on the podcast, pretty much ever since we started, it was you. So like right now, if I'm giddy, it's because of that.
I'm also giddy. So that's just nerves, but
No, but I think the cool part too
yeah.
is you as a guest, very different from everyone else we've had. You and I got to very quickly develop our own friendship over the
Yeah.
past few weeks. And
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you and me, we had our pre-interview discussion.
Yeah, we did,
right?
yeah.
We had our jiu-jitsu class. We did a kickboxing session. So I'm just appreciative of the fact that you were willing to take time out of your day to connect, but also like try new things.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
I'm excited.
And with the element of trying new things, is that something like is that something you do? Or is this a new thing where you're like, okay, screw it, let's try it?
With podcast and stuff, or just like in general?
Yeah, just in general, like saying yes to something
Oh,
where-
I'm a big fan. Well, I'm a big fan of trying new things. I do believe that it is something that will provide growth for you after. It's always after.
Like when I
It's
can
not
reflect.
immediate. It's not immediate. But no, I'm a big try new things, get uncomfortable, risk. Yeah.
When it
Yeah,
comes
I
to all
am.
that, like what do you think was the biggest risk you took in this pandemic we were in, when you could have made any decision, possibly in the most recent time of your life, where no matter what decision you made, everyone in your circle would have been okay with it. You could have convinced yourself that, okay, I could have made the right step. Could have been closing down for a while. It could have been whatever decision you decided to make.
Yeah.
But guide us through whatever risk you took, and now looking back, how you reflect on what that's done for you now.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, there was pre-pandemic there. Well, no, I guess just to fill you in, I had opened our Kelowna location one day before COVID hit. It was a Monday. Opened, brand new business, had an entire team, and then Tuesday had to lay everybody off and work it, myself. So in that day or two, I guess the decision I had to make was whether or not I was going to stay open. Was it's a big risk. I stay open, all of my franchise partners stay open, or do we close, and will that be a risk and detrimental to the business? So really, I chose in that moment to stay open and power through and see where it takes us. Not easy, because at that time, I mean, there was so much going on with, I had my kids back home here in Edmonton, and I was stuck in Kelowna. So I had to figure out, childcare and what I was going to do with them. And then, I'm in the store that's Kelowna, that's my store. So I don't have franchise partners to kind of take over. I have to work it myself. And then I have a location here in Edmonton that was manager run, that still needed my support. And then franchise partners that relied on me for the next steps and what to do. So I chose to take a day at a time. At that time, I let everybody know. We got on a group text and I said, guys, we're just going to take it a day at a time and see where it goes. And I mean, we hit some pretty all-time low sales numbers, like $25, like really bad days.
The expectation changed, though.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not like it was going to be the same before. So I
No,
can imagine.
no. I mean, but to hit that low
Yeah.
was like, it wouldn't really be worth us staying open,
Yeah.
right? I just felt like if we stay open and power through and keep moving forward, I felt like the what's what I'm looking for. I always use that. I gotta edit this part out.
No, it's
the
okay.
rebound. Sorry, the rebound was going to be a lot better.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Don't even need to edit. This just shows
Oh,
one's
okay.
perfect, right? Don't even sweat it. You should
Like
see,
I had that word.
what I do to find words is I just keep putting on words. We
Right,
talked
like,
about that
I'll
earlier.
try, yeah.
So don't even
What was
sweat
the
it.
word I was looking for? Yeah, the rebound. I kept
Yeah.
thinking about that. I'm like, I feel like if we close, will some of our stores be able to reopen?
Yeah.
Will I be able realistically be able to reopen in 3 months or 4 months or however long?
And then it became,
This looks-
you'd rather stay open and keep conquering through. And the message from up above, being you and everyone else, you had to be on board with it.
Yeah.
It had to be you know what, we have to take a relentless approach here,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
I mean, would you rather stay home, do nothing?
Yeah.
Or are we going to do our best to keep open and believe in the KB&Co dream that we're trying to fulfill here?
Totally. It was really challenging to have made that call. I mean, it took it, because I kept saying, guys, this is a day-to-day case. We're just going to see how things play out. And if I decide in 2 weeks we're going to close, then we're all going to close. But we're not going to close stores individually and have some open, some closed. I had, franchise partners that were concerned about their own health and safety.
Big time.
And I had to, mandate that they stay open. Almost, not that I don't care about their health and well-being and safety, but almost sorry, you feel that way, but you need to stay open for the betterment of the brand and all of us involved.
Yeah.
Which was really, really hard, because you feel like such an a-hole doing that when they're in tears. I'm scared, for my own.
Yeah, it goes back to the fear that's stigmatized
Yeah.
around, okay, well, if I go to work, am I gonna get sick?
Right.
Is my family gonna get sick? And
Yeah.
at the same time, you just have to make sure that you remind them why they started doing this in the first place.
Totally.
So like, I'm wondering, like, if you don't mind sharing what some of that dialogue looked like, or all encompassing, like, what was it you felt like you really did, all in all, that like made majority of everyone be like, you know what, Christina, if our life's on the line, it's on you, but we got this. Sounds good to me.
Right?
Let's make it happen.
Trust me, I'll work 5 jobs to pay for everybody's lifestyle. If this all tanks,
Yeah,
I will
like, I
take
won't
care of
sleep.
you. Yeah. There was a lot of resistance for sure, between not just my franchise partners, but staff as well, my employees in Edmonton. I mean, now that they could be on CERB and stay home, and again, a lot of them frightened their own, being scared of their own health and wellness. So we lost staff. There was a lot of resistance. I remained super positive and optimistic, and I just killed them with positivity. Like, guys, it's going to be good. It's going to be great. Trust me. Just trust me. And just reiterating that message of like, we're going to come out of this so much stronger if we all stay open versus if we close. So let's just do this together. We're in this. I'm in the same boat though. And I think that's the advantage and the beauty in having my own stores. I have just as much to lose as everybody else. I'm not just franchisor sitting on top. Like, you stay open and I'll be at home.
You're not sitting there
I'll be
at
at home
home.
staying safe.
Yeah, you're out in the trenches with them.
Totally. I'm trying to manage 2 stores. So I think that, just killing them with kindness and noting every little win. So if we were up by $10 the next day, you heard, I let everybody know about it. Guys, I'm over here. I'm $20, doing $20 more than I did yesterday. And, some stores were like, yeah, great. We did $10 less. I'm like, but tomorrow's a brand new day. We're going to,
Exactly. No, I love that. And it's also, I can imagine how much it needed to not be compared to, let's say, what it was like pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure that was in the back of your mind. I remember you telling me like how diligent you are with the bookkeeping, and you see that.
Yeah.
But letting them know that, okay, well, 10, 15, $20, that's better than nothing.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that people feel comfortable enough to still come inside and be able to be serviced with what we're offering, like that's momentum.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to ask, especially with how much I could tell. I'm sure naturally, I won't be surprised if anyone would say no to this, but just based off of hearing you speak, you're very much so about manifesting what you expect to have happen.
Yeah.
Right? And you talked a little bit about that on previous podcasts, and we're going to talk about that today.
It's magic.
Yeah. You got a magic wand in the back. You could tell it's happening in the future, right? But really, like, what was something that was like, almost it felt like a big win for you during the pandemic, where you're like, you know what, I'm glad we went with this decision. And like, maybe could have been more than one thing, but if you could look back now and there's just that one thing you're never going to forget, where like, it felt like such a solid win and everyone was on the same page and it made you feel good about making that decision.
Mm-hmm. I would say that launching Skip during the pandemic was a really good move. We did try our own, our in-house delivery.
Nice.
Where I was so anti-delivery service because I didn't actually know that you could alter or modify the menu items that you were going to be offering. So I didn't want people to be ordering smoothies. I didn't understand how it all worked. So I was like, we're not doing a delivery. We're not signing up with Uber, and
smoothie's going to spill. It's not going to be as fresh anymore.
Waffles are going to be cold. So we'll come up with a shorter version of our menu items that we'll offer for delivery, and we'll get our staff to deliver it themselves between certain windows. Mm-hmm. So we did the in-house delivery for about 6 weeks, and it was well received. Just a little tricky because we had a certain window that they had to order in, and then a window that they had to that we would deliver in. So it was like 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. that you'd have to order, and nobody's really thinking about what they want for lunch or like dinner in that window. So. For the most part, it was well received, which made me think, okay, if we do sign up with some of these third-party delivery services, this could be even bigger. Mm-hmm. And it really did jump-kick our sales in the right direction. And then from there, it just snowballed, and sales continued to. And actually, the Skip orders were on Skip, and they actually started to reduce, which is great because we give a portion of your
That's why I have first. We're going to try this on our own.
So I'm glad that, but it was a big success in the beginning, and then we still have that. It's just not a big portion of our business now, which everybody's grateful for because nobody wants to lose money on that. But that was a I think, yeah, that was a really big win for sure.
Yeah.
And then I think just staying open, in hindsight, looking back, staying open was the right decision. And when I think back to, I want to say it was a solid 3 to 4 weeks where I wasn't sleeping. Every morning I would wake up, should I close or should we stay open? Every single morning, like, what should I do? My girlfriend, who was with me in Kelowna at the time, said, well, just sleep on it. Like, I'm sleeping on it every single night.
Yeah.
Like, keep waking up with the same, no real answer for both. Like, no, stay open, just kind of, gray. And then, at the 4-week mark, I'm like, no, we're gonna do this together and
Yep.
write it out. So big
Wow.
win for just staying open.
No, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
it just shows how well you can look at a situation like that and be innovative and
Yeah.
think outside the box.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, what can we offer on top of what we're already offering?
Right.
Where skip kind of comes into play, and then
Yeah.
you start noticing the weeks are going by, and you're like, okay, we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
You can start from that point, looking back and start recognizing how can we continue improving this beast, right?
Yeah.
And as a segue, I just want, for anyone who hasn't shockingly heard of you before, they haven't paid attention, especially on a local basis in Edmonton, your story that stems from, having your first child at 15 and then going through a family with multiple siblings where, you grew up with seeing drug addiction.
Mm-hmm.
You grew up in a capacity of, always recognizing that no matter how much hardships you went through, and it always felt like when the going got tough, you just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
You understood that you were so much more capable of doing whatever it was that, like, you felt like life gave you.
Right.
And I want to know, through staying positive and through manifestation, like, how much that has been a pinnacle part of your growth even to this day. Like, that could have just stopped. KB&Co could have stopped at one location, and even for you at that point, it could have just been, okay, Christina, wow, like, look what you did.
Yeah.
You managed to, like, become a divisional manager of Quiznos at such a young age, and always shoot for the stars.
Yeah.
Even that could have been like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Guess what I am now.
Yeah.
But then, even then, you're like, no, I want to run my own location. Oh, now I'm going to do multiple locations. It just keeps growing,
Yeah.
right? Like, this is like the person that says they want to make the largest pizza, and then they make a larger pizza afterwards.
Right? Yeah.
So, where is that for you? Like, what makes you hungry to keep this level of manifestation a part of you, and why does it not ever stop for you?
Oh, that's a loaded question. There's so much around that. I want to say, though, I think that once you, get into the manifestation process and you actually see it come true, or you watch it unfold the way that you had manifested, it becomes, like I said earlier, like magic, where you feel like you can really do anything that you want, just based off of, to keep it simple, dreaming. Dreaming is what I often relate it to. It's, for me, always at a very young age, always visualizing what kind of mom I would be, what kind of, so when I got pregnant when I was 15, I kind of knew already, like, this is the kind of mom that I'm going to be when, he's born, and 5 and 10 and 15 and 20. We're going to be the best of friends when he's 23. We are. I think we are.
I love that. Hey, if he's able to go to you for that quarter life crisis and
That's right.
explain what's going
Yes.
on, then clearly that's
Calls-
true.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So I think once you start, watching it unfold, the sky is like, no limit, really. The sky is the limit.
Well, I mean, you're writing your own story, and I
Mm-hmm.
love that. I find that you're not letting anyone or anything get in the way of the narrative that you're giving, the life you're living.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see that, I understand. I'm sure other people understand what happens when the barrier is too big, and what do you do in those moments? Because I know you've explained in the past on air too, in previous episodes, in Sherry's episode, I believe, where you meditate and you really think on that. And now I just want us to dig deep into, okay, well, what does meditation even mean? And what does manifestation really mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you could define those for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because I know for myself, I hear and know what it could look like on my end. I know
Right.
everyone ticks differently,
Right.
and
Yeah.
everyone, does it in a different way. But guide us through, like, when you are manifesting,
Mm-hmm.
what does that look like? If if you could kind of dissect the detail of like you've been like, all right, Christina, it's 9 p.m. tonight. It's manifestation time, baby. Let's do this.
That's
you know,
good.
but like
That's
guide
good.
me
That's
through
getting
that.
good. Okay, well, I have a two-part process of my morning ritual, which is like a meditation side and then the manifestation side. I don't
Nice.
meditate too long because I did that once. I don't know if I shared that with you, but I did that. I was meditating for upwards of like an hour a day for 6 months, and I was not myself. I was super zen and chill, which was great. I probably needed it, but I wasn't getting anything done. I had a very like, oh, the universe will provide. People are like, how's that business coming along? I'm like, it'll come when it comes.
People will come as they go. No problem.
Right? Like looking for money. I'm like, it's going to show up somewhere.
So there's a balance. You
There's a
respect that
balance
there's a
for
balance.
sure. So right now, I would say I'm like about 10, 15 minutes of meditation, which is really just sitting there in silence and just catching my breath. Just deep breaths, trying to limit, and the thoughts, I still struggle with it. Thoughts are going to creep in. Just try to limit as many thoughts as, I can. And they're rolling in fast. So that's the first part of more of like a traditional meditation. And then the manifestation, which is what I get really excited to get into, is first of all, write out in my journal what maybe it's just like I'm kind of manifesting how my day is going to unfold, or what I'll be doing in 1 year or 5 years, what in 5 years I'm doing specifically. So what my kitchen looks like, and I'm grabbing my coffee from here. I've got this gorgeous coffee bar, and I'm sitting in my dining room table, and I'm writing it out, and as I'm writing it out, I'm smiling, and I'm really feeling the emotion of it. Like I'm feeling it as if it's already happening. If it's my day, I'm writing up the same thing. It's happened. It's so, again, magic, where I've written out today opportunities are going to present themselves. This is going to unfold, yada, yada, and it's all happened. But one thing that I think people get confused about with manifestation or like positive thinking or visualization is people tend to just like, oh, I think positive. Like I think, yeah, I'm going to get a raise, or I want a raise, or I want to make more money. I think that all the time. But do you really feel the emotion of it? Because that's when you attract the energy of it.
Yeah.
When you really sit in that, like, as if it's happening right now, and not praying or manifesting into the future. Because if you do that, you're constantly praying into future. If I'm like praying for this to happen, it never really comes, because I'm always praying for it.
Yeah.
And for it to come. So I manifest as if it's already happening. Like I am in charge of my life. This is what's going to unfold today. This is how things are going to look. I am going to be, this is pre-KB, I can see myself serving smoothies. I could see the counter. It's white. It's gorgeous. I see myself handing somebody a smoothie. But I'm feeling the emotion, the excitement, and thrill of it. Yeah. And I think that's when manifestation takes place. I get so excited.
Wow. No, I
talking
love
about
that.
this.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I need a journal book right now or something to get mine going, right?
Right, yeah.
But like, it's the way you explain that, and I find it's something that we need to pay more attention to, is when anyone decides to do this exercise, it's paying attention to the feeling.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the outcome.
Right.
The outcome, everyone
Right.
wants to be able to know what that looks like. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Right.
This is what it's going to look like. How are you going to feel when it's in front of you?
Right.
And that's something I really like that you captured, because I can't help but take that back into context when I'm speaking with my clients, with their fitness goals, or like
Right.
what they want to accomplish with their overall health.
Right.
Everyone is always going, okay, well, I want to lose weight.
Yeah.
I want to look good.
Yeah.
And then that's fair. That's
Right.
great. That's
Right.
you want to do that. That's a good goal. But what is that going to do for you?
Right.
When you lose weight, how are you going to feel?
Right.
Then already through them answering that, to your point, they're feeling it. They're understanding, wow, like, I'm going to feel like I could look in the mirror again.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel like my kids are going to stop saying I have a dad bod. Like,
Right.
just like, but little triggers.
Right.
They're like little mini intrinsic motivators that the moment that alarm clock goes up, Christina, boom, I'm going to shoot right up. Because I'm going to remember how this thing I'm chasing is going to make me feel.
Totally.
And it allows people through the way you just very beautifully explain the exercise, it allows them to like chase something.
Totally.
And I find for you, I'll ask, I don't want to just guess or predict anything, but like in life, do you always feel like you're chasing towards something, or you're getting chased?
I would say that I'm chasing towards something.
And then
Yeah.
what that something is for you, is it a very particular thing right now in your life, now that you look back on like how powerful manifestation has been for you, or are you kind of okay, like you understand what wave you're riding out on right now, or like do you know exactly how this final wave is going to end up looking? Like, are we talking like KB&Co
Well-
movie? Are we going Universal Studios?
We're
Are
definitely doing a movie. We're definitely
like where? Let's take it somewhere.
I love it. Hollywood, here I come.
I love it. Next J-Lo.
Right? Yeah. Wow, thank you. I love J-Lo.
I remember
Yeah,
you told me,
yeah.
so I had to
Love
add that
J-Lo,
in
yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, perfect. I would say now I know exactly where I'm going, and it all makes sense. But despite anything that I've ever wanted, I get because I just want it, and I again live through the emotion of like having it. So when I had my Quiznos franchise, and I wanted this director of operations title, I was chasing after, and I was dreaming and playing out what it would look like with me doing it. Like I knew what kind of bag I had around my shoulder. I knew I was on a plane. I could see myself on a plane. So I really played that out over and over until the guy's like, yeah, you got the job. I'm like, well, it's about time. I could start actually. So I think there have been times in the last, like 20 years for sure, where you don't really know where this is all leading.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I got a Quiznos franchise. So, well, I know, but you don't really know what this is leading up to. But to have a Quiznos franchise, so be a franchisee and then work on the corporate side as a director of operations, and then go over to Booster Juice and work in operations there, and then have a 4-year short gig doing leasing. Like all of these things just have like really helped my success today, right?
It's been a huge part of creating KB&Co.
Absolutely, yeah. Knowing what I know and all the experience that I have, it just makes sense. It makes so much sense.
I respect that a lot, because it's even before when we talked about how you were saying before we went live, where you find it funny when people ask you, when did this all start? And it's just like, well, literally the day I was born, right? But I find everyone needs to factor in something.
Yeah.
They need to factor in every single piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And every single piece of the puzzle is a piece of your life and something you've done with it and the experiences you've had to help shape whatever decisions you make and what you actually want to do with your life.
Totally.
That could be your career. That could be who you choose to be with your partner in life. That could be the kids you're bringing into this world and the world views you want to shape.
Totally.
For them to now make easy, conscious decisions, for them to say yes and for them to say no, based off the values they have.
Yeah.
And I just see how, based off what you said, you genuinely respect so much of your past experiences.
Yes, I do.
And no matter if they were good or they were bad, you respect it so much, because they're a piece of the puzzle of what you've done with your current vocation.
Totally.
And
I would agree. I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. The negative, the positive, all of it. It all happens for a reason. So we need more people to think like that, right? I could be sitting here choosing not to even acknowledge all of these things that I've done over the last 20 years have really helped me today. Some people don't think about that, right? I remember, 10 years ago going, thinking, why am I doing this job? Like, where is this going to lead me? Not really knowing where this is going. But all experiences for sure, both negative and positive.
it's the story you're writing for yourself again. Back to that, right? Like, I find that, I mean, if for anyone listening to this who always feels like they've criticized themselves, or they've allowed themselves or others to tell them that you can't do that, you've gone through so much traumatic experiences, how can you be a role model for others like that? You need to look and feel and be like this. And sometimes that's a dialogue that's happening in their head.
Yeah.
And people tell themselves, oh, like, I've been homeless, or oh, I've been brought up by a bad family, or oh, I'm not worthy enough to be someone like her, to be like Christina. But little do they know, right?
Yeah,
like
no,
that's why the story and the vulnerability you showed in the previous podcast you were in. Like, I always, for anyone listening to this, and if you haven't listened to it, stop, pause it, and listen to the backstory. Because I know you and I agreed, we're not just going to repeat that.
Yeah.
That's all for that episode, and we'll share that link.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, if you can add to maybe letting us know, like, what are the first few steps someone should make in recognizing that they want to make the changes, yet they're so fearful of, like, where to start, because there's so much change that needs to be done.
Right.
There's so much rewiring that has to be done. And I don't know if you felt like that, or it was easy for you, or if it was always kind of a challenge, and through some of those challenges you noticed some things you did that just made it easier to go from here up to here. Or it might have been that stepping stone system, but you knew that you're trying to get out of something. You don't know where exactly it's going to take you, but you know you don't want to live like this anymore.
Yeah.
This circumstance that you had no control over being in.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm kind of setting in on here, Christina.
Yeah.
Is like, a lot of people, they get born into situations that they didn't deserve to be in.
Right. Right.
So for you, I mean, bringing this on to others, what were some of those hoops and valleys you knew you went over? Like, through those experiences, what did you do? What was kind of like that rewiring you did?
Well, specifically, really just surrounding myself with positive people. I think that's a big thing. I mean, if you're current, you want to do big things and you want to change, things about yourself, or get into business, or whatever that looks like for you, start surrounding yourself around people who are in business and who are positive, or who live sort of the life that you aspire to live. I think that was a big thing for me. And it's really, really hard when you come from a family system that's negative, and you kind of buy into that. Like, I had to cut out the majority of my family in order to live the life that I wanted to live. And it's tough because you get stuck on that. They're I'm blood related. It's my mom or it's my sisters. You feel like you need to still, I guess, be involved in their lives somehow. But if it's not positive and it's not making you feel good, you need to cut that tie and start surrounding yourself around positive people. And that was really big for me. Is just putting myself in positive environments and situations. So
Yeah, wow.
that would be the first step.
Yeah, step one, assess who you're around right
Yeah.
now, even if it's blood related, even if it's family.
Yeah.
Are they doing you good?
Right. And Kenny, it's easy to say, but it is so hard. It is, and I struggled with it right up until 5 years ago, I would say. So pretty much my entire life, where I really want to do good things and big things. I want to be in school. I want to go back to school. And then you have this family system that views that as you being too good. If you want to go off and be successful, you're too good for us now. So then you get caught in the, like, no, I'm not too good. I love you, but I just want to do these big things. Like that was my, sort of a bit of my upbringing. But you do get, as much as I wanted that, you do get stuck in that guilt and shame of, where to land with that. Like,
yeah. Like, just wondering where your ceiling is.
Especially when you don't have that support, right? So,
Yeah. How does one in that situation gain a new support system? Like, especially when they feel like it's tough to trust. The trust issues are there. The element of feeling like they have to watch their back is there. Yeah. The concept of just finding some sort of, like, answer from above, right? Being like, give me something. But is it, hey, there's a stranger, there's someone who looks successful. Hey, I'm gonna knock on Christina's door. Can you please be my new support system, right? But like, what should, and I can kind of help give you an idea of, because I do this myself, but it'd be interesting to know from your perspective. We could both dance around it a little bit. Like,
sends them a DM. Hey, you look like a cool person to hang out with. Can we be friends?
And I'll argue actually right off the bat with that. I know you're laughing, but like, I don't think that's the right approach, right?
Okay.
Like, I personally think that works.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, okay, I find now everyone always wonders, like, what does this person want from me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like also recognizing it's like, okay, everyone doesn't always just want something.
Totally.
They just want to be your friend.
Yeah.
Right? But then sometimes you can't help but think that when someone does that, you're wondering, okay, like, what's going on? What do they need? And you want to be able to give that companionship.
Yeah.
You want to be able to give. But then now we live in a world where it's like, I'm not used to someone just reaching out and saying they want to be my friend.
Yeah.
And I find for me, it's like, okay, I'm always, I tell my friends all the time, like, I will want to meet anyone for coffee.
Yeah.
And I always just genuinely, if I can, like right now, I know my life got more busier, and I'm very aware of where I spend my time. My friends will say, "Dude, like just like stop saying yes to everybody,"
Yeah.
right? But I just always feel like, you know what? Sometimes people just don't have
Yeah.
the social circle you do.
Yeah.
But now, as far as the delivery of that message,
Mhm.
I think that's super important. I care a lot about intention setting. It's
Right.
kind of like if I go to you, Christina, and I respect friendship the same way.
Yeah.
Because for me, I learned the value of what friendship means.
Yeah.
The value of friendship is like me going to you the first time I meet you
Yeah.
in a DM saying,
Yeah.
Christina, we should totally do business together.
Yeah.
We should totally, like, Christina, I want to open up a KB&Co. How likely are you to say yes to that or reply right away?
Right.
Right? So, I don't know,
Yeah.
from your perspective,
Yeah.
and I'm willing, we don't have to agree, but I think from your perspective, what does that look like for that person? Like, how do they go about rehashing this social circle for them?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I've always, been employed or been, self-employed. So I think just in that, whether I'm employed by somebody, just in that social setting of colleagues, right? Like just people that are in higher positions than you. If you aspire to do something on the career front in that way and you want to, climb the corporate ladder and hanging out with somebody who's in where you want to be.
I like that.
So colleagues were important to me, ones that I felt like had the same morals and values I would attach myself to. And then in business and in recent years, just through community events and meeting people and just, maintaining that friendship or connection.
What is a
Once
friend?
you meet that.
I like that. I like
Once you
that.
meet them, yeah.
It's like you're looking at it from the perspective of like, surround yourself around the people you want to become.
Totally.
In
Yeah.
a sense,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like, okay, if what's not working right now, now you want to become whatever, go
Yeah.
into that organization,
Yeah.
go square one,
Yeah.
clean up the floors if you have to,
Yeah.
right? But like, be
Totally.
willing to work for that person.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
exciting. I personally like, I really resonate with that because one of my best friends to this day was the night manager at Joey Restaurants.
Mm.
And I just remember at the time when I started working there, I was just like, I wanted to be just like him, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, like, let's get to know him. But naturally, we just became really good friends.
Yeah.
6-7 years later now, we're like this.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
So I personally really resonate with that.
Yeah. I did DM somebody recently, a couple weeks ago. Somebody, one of the dragons on the
Nice.
I-
You DM'd the dragon.
I DM'd a former dragon.
And you said, let's be friends.
And I said, hey, I was wondering if we could hang out for a day. Sounds maybe a little crazy. Did a little like, yeah, that's me. But let me know if you'd be interested in that. The response was hilarious. It was I won't mention any names, but it said, hey, yes and no and maybe, period.
Yes, no, and maybe.
Like the guy, he's just totally confused. Who the F are you? What is
Yeah.
happening? But we're going to connect in 2 weeks and we're going to hang out.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to hang out with.
See, that's awesome.
So, and that took a lot for me. I wanted, I want to start, I love the people that I'm surrounded by, or surrounded with now. I have such a great social circle and great colleagues, great staff, great support team. But I want to, I need a mentor, I think. I need somebody to start.
Dr. Ramu
looking up to-
rings
yeah.
a bell.
Yeah.
Am I getting that right? Basu.
Basu, yeah.
Basu.
I saw a psychic. And
I remember Basu.
Dr. Basu, and he said, you need to, connect with somebody who's doing really big things right now. And I said, oh, okay.
This might,
So, I just-
through, connecting the dots with this individual you reached out to,
Yeah.
might be it.
Right?
Right? But with a social circle in mind, that's a neat thing. I always look at it this way. Ken Shamrock, he was one of the first UFC fighters
Okay.
to win a championship. He says this in the same way through athletics and through winning. I say this to compare it and contrast it with friendships. So as an athlete, you want to win, you want to keep learning. So what do? Normally, you try and always be around the best guys.
Right.
But also, you need to understand that there's going to be opportunities for you to teach others, and you have to be willing to do that.
Right.
You have to have 3 different types of people around you as a champion or as someone who wants to
Right.
win.
Okay.
Have a guy who kicks your ass.
Okay.
Have somebody who's on the same frequency as you.
Right.
Like every time you guys touch
Yeah,
gloves,
yeah,
lightning strikes, and it's like you never know who wins.
Yeah.
It could go either way.
Yeah.
And then have the other guy who she'll stop everything in her tracks. She'll be like, oh my God, yeah, I got another hour to spare. Teach me anything.
Right.
Show me anything.
Right.
But they trust you with that.
Right.
And like you are, in a sense, a mentor to them.
Right.
But now someone else is a mentor to you.
Right.
And now someone's on the same exact page as
Love
you.
that.
Now from a friendship perspective,
Yeah.
you also should have all of that.
Yeah.
You should have someone you could go to and be like, listen, like tell me if I'm fucking up here.
Yeah.
Like, am I, like, shout out to Dawn
Got my
Marie,
girl.
baby. But, like, you got that person. Then you got someone who you're like, listen, like, they were you 10 years ago. Or it doesn't
Yeah.
matter about age, but they want to be you. And then you got someone else who's on the same page as you.
Right.
And you respect and understand that they're growing just as big of a legacy as you are. Maybe in the same space, maybe not. Egos are down. Pride is down.
Totally.
And you could learn a lot from one another.
Yeah.
And what I've learned, the hardest one is which one? The one where the person's on the same
Yeah,
page as
I was
you.
just gonna say, yeah. I feel like that would be.
And that's where, like, that social network
Mm-hmm.
piece, I find is vital, because we're always trying to find someone to save us, but also let's look at who can we save.
Yeah.
And that's what Jocko Willink said when he said, I'm not sure, have you heard of him?
No.
He's like a Navy SEAL war hero.
Okay.
And Joe Rogan talks about
Oh,
him
okay.
all the time. Like,
Yeah.
check out his podcast
Yeah.
and stuff. I'll send you some stuff on it.
Yeah.
One day I hope to have him sit
Is it
across here.
with Joe Rogan
And
or this? No, this
both
is
of
like-
them. Both of them.
Yeah.
Us two and them.
Okay,
We'll all
perfect. Done.
we'll
I'll DM him. See where I can.
I am. I'm like, you want to hang out for a day? Maybe that'll work. But like he said, one of the best therapies for people who come back from war is to go help somebody in need. Go feed the
I believe
homeless.
it. Yeah.
Because they're so wired in thinking about going back and saving their country, and all they can think about is
Interesting, yeah.
just like that mental trauma they
Yeah.
go through, right?
Yeah.
But like,
Interesting.
I don't know. We spend a lot of time wanting to be saved, but I think at the same time there's others to be saved, and there's people in the same shoes as us.
I would agree. So why is finding somebody at your own, for you personally, I'm just going to flip the,
Mhm.
hard to find somebody on that same, why is that the most challenging one for you? I feel like?
I just think for someone such as myself, I just gotta put ego down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I would
and I've
agree.
seen it too many times. I've always found, whether it's in the world of jiu-jitsu, whether it's in the world of like, you know, you always want to be the best, and you find whether it's from the business capacity or the gym capacity or the athlete perspective,
Yeah.
you see someone as good as you, and you're trying to like, it's competitive.
Right,
You
yeah,
know,
that'd be
it's like, oh, who has more memberships, or who has the most black belts, or whatever it
Yeah,
is, and you're always
yeah.
trying to you're comparing and it's not healthy.
No.
I'm starting to recognize that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy are bad at this. Shout out to Danny. I don't mind saying his name. We talked about this yesterday. Every time him and I square up and we touch leather, we can't help but know we're gonna try and kick each other's ass, and like we both go so hard, and that always happens since day one because we're so just evenly matched. There's times where like yesterday, boom, he hit me with the hardest jab. I ate it, and then instinctively I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get him back,
Yeah.
right? But again, like it shouldn't be like that.
Totally. Yeah.
Because what are we thinking?
Yeah.
We're thinking, oh, who's gonna be the better one to
That's
win
right.
here?
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure you said, Christina, that you don't pay attention too much to your competition.
No, I don't.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's like, I remember we were talking about it. I don't know if
Yeah.
I asked you, and you're like, I don't have a competition,
Yeah,
right?
no. Well, yeah, and I probably do. I probably have a ton of competition.
What does that do for you? What's the good that does that for you?
Oh,
for not
I mean,
bothering?
just being able to stay in my own lane. And what I noticed when I was doing that in the beginning, so when I'd hear about other concepts opening up or concepts that were currently open, I would panic about them taking away business or them coming into my store and looking at the things that I'm doing and trying to rip it off and copy me. So I would, and just not just like, current or new businesses that were in the same space as me, but just people that were coming in. Oh my gosh, Kenny, people that would come in the first, for sure, 3 to 6 months that looked suspicious.
Oh no! Detective hat, jacket on.
I was so bad. I would replayed camera footage that night at home when I got home at like 10 or 11 p.m., like looking at them because I can see the dining room, like what are they taking pictures of? And like people would take pictures of the menu and then say, I just got to send it to my friend, see what they want. And I'm like, I know what you're doing. You're ripping off my smoothies.
Can I get a tour in the back and just sort of see how you guys are cooking your sandwiches?
Anybody that paid more attention to the details. I had one guy like checking out the tables and looking underneath it. I'm like, oh yeah, spy would tell the staff, guys, a spy is here to like rip me off. And what I noticed was, and it became really comical in the workplace. People are like, oh God, Gaby's like losing her mind. Because I actually started putting like affirmations on the back of the swinging door that faces the kitchen. It was like, stay in your own lane, you've got this, you're on the right path, no noise, like a bunch of affirmations on there that I would look at before I would, head out to the circuit. But what I noticed was that I was in this constant state of fear of like, somebody's going to take over or do something better, or rip me off. And I wasn't even focusing on what I do best and what I can create from my heart. If they're doing this and making this new bite or bar, I could do it better. Mm-hmm. And then go into the kitchen and do it, and most times fail at it because it wasn't from the right place. So it was short-lived, and I just decided, you know what, I don't care who's coming and who's doing what. I'm just going to stay in my own lane and do what we do best.
Yeah,
and
I love that. It's
one element of the business that we do teach through franchisee training, because franchisees are going to feel potentially the same way. I mean, when my St. Albert, Ashley won't mind me saying this, but when we opened St. Albert, Ashley would, I think she was a little paranoid about people coming in or like, knowing certain things. And I'm like, oh, whatever, don't worry about it. Just do you. Like, don't stress about it. We've got this. So I incorporate that into that training because I want people to feel good about it and to stay positive.
I love that.
Yeah.
You can spend all your time and energy. You could waste it on thinking about what the competition's doing and how you can be better than the competition. Yeah. Or you can just do your best. Yeah. Do your absolute best, as you mentioned. Yeah. And if you're focused on doing your best, I mean, you have all that energy spent doing that.
Right.
As opposed to spending time YouTubing what the competition's doing, what are they doing? Now you're just getting stressed, and now you're like, oh my God, we didn't do that,
Looking at footage like, oh, I know you're looking at me, you're gonna rip off my tables.
Exactly, and it's all toxic noise.
Yeah, it really is.
Even from a relationship perspective, right? Maybe you date someone and then you break up with them and you fall in love and all this stuff happens. And what do you naturally want to do? Yeah. Oh, they're dating somebody now. What does this guy look like? Oh, he's now you're being competitive, right?
Totally.
And that can happen. I think it's human nature, but I find we have to teach ourselves to stop doing certain things that are within our natural state of doing things. Yeah. So when it comes to rewiring, there's one topic I don't know if we're going to finish on this. We're going to keep talking because I could talk to you all day, I swear. Right? But like, if we go from a therapeutic stance and we talk about reflection, if you wish to share the significance behind therapy, and what you found that did for you going forward now in your life.
Yes.
I don't know if that's too broad. I've been really working on the specifics.
Be more specific. No, yes, I've been in therapy for pretty much since COVID. I decided to get into therapy. And I got into therapy because of my relationships, to be honest. Like I struggled with my intimate relationships, and my marriage was over, and I didn't know where to land with all of that, or how to process any of it on my own. And it was in such a tough time as well, like with business and personal, like all the other things that were going on. So I got into it from the relationship standpoint, but it very quickly went in the direction of like childhood trauma, and the habits and things that I'm doing today are because of a lot of childhood trauma and old family habits and systems that I've was raised in. So it's changed my life. I can't say enough. There's so much to it that I don't know if I can speak to real specific ones, I guess, in terms of it being life-changing, but maybe conscious speaking, being more aware of how to speak to people, speaking from your heart, being more vulnerable, which was something that I struggled with my entire life. I'm tough. I've got this. I don't need anybody.
Holding it in.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm emotional and I wear my emotions on my sleeve for the most part, but I've also got this very, like, I don't need anybody. I'm tough. I can do this on my own. Push everybody away. And not had a really hard time. I'm getting better at it now, but nobody could do anything for me. Like, you don't even, no, you're not going to do the laundry for me. You're not going to do the dishes for me. I would do it all because I'm independent and I'm strong, and I've spent my entire life being alone and like fending for myself, so I can do it. But it wasn't working, right? I was with, in relationships with people that I was resenting because they weren't doing things for me, but hello, like I told them not to, right? Really it's changed my life and just in like becoming a better leader on the communication front. And again, goes back to like conscious speaking and being really conscious of how I'm coming across and dropping those walls of like tough guy. I've got this. That makes sense.
That is awesome. You felt like now you're more open to know that you don't have to do everything on your own.
Totally.
Anymore.
Totally.
And you can ask and you can tell.
Yes.
Like.
Yeah, a big win for me was, it was a huge win when, I wouldn't take money from people. Like I've got this, I'll figure it out. My dad, when we opened Kelowna, he was big, like he lives in Kelowna. He said, you gotta have patio furniture. I'm like, yeah, I've still got some like debt I'm paying off with the store build out. So once that's paid off, I'll get some patio furniture. And he called me in middle of August and he said, damn it, Chris, you need some patio furniture. Like you're on a corner spot across the street from the beach. Mm-hmm. I said, Dad, I'm almost done. It was the beginning of August. So I'm almost done paying off like this last bill. And then when I do, I'll order it. He's like, it's going to be too late. Like people want to sit outside. Damn it, I'll buy it for you. Like, what is it? Like $1,000? Like, how much is it? Let me just buy it for you. And I said, okay, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I'll send you like the invoice. Just like call them and yeah, great. And I couldn't believe that I did that because I would never, not from family, not from a friend, I have this like, no, it's fine, Dad, don't worry. And if he's that persistent, I'll just go throw it on and I'll find money over here and I'll get him to shut up. But I just was like, yeah, great. Want to pay for it? Go ahead.
Someone wants to give you something, let them.
Right? And also when I spoke to my therapist about that, because that was such a big win, I'm like, Dad's buying me patio furniture.
Like, yes, it's working. So proud,
Who
else could give me something and I could say yes to it?
But it's funny because I am such a giver. I think some of my like love language is to like gift or give or do things for people. So she said, how does it feel when you try to give somebody something because you genuinely just want to give something to someone and do something for somebody and they turn you down? And it offends me. It does. It upsets me. It makes me feel like I'm not like valued, or they don't, or I get all bent out of shape about it. And that was sort of the turning point. I'm like, okay, I see how this works. So someone wants to do something for you. I also think too, like in my family system growing up, doing something, and I had never really experienced it personally per se. I just watched it all happen through my siblings and relatives. But if they did something for somebody, they owed them. So if somebody gave somebody $100, like
you owe me back.
You owe me, and you better do this for me, and then they're bragging about how
there's
they do
this
all this
reciprocity effect of like give and take.
Yeah,
not just give and
oh
thank you.
Right.
Like,
and it was a very negative, piece to it. So I think for me, just knowing that that's how it's going to be if I ask. So I think that always.
That's a big change you've made.
Yeah.
So I acknowledge you for making that.
Thank you.
That's like you've had to completely rewire that.
Oh yeah.
And I remember I think you and I it was the first time we met, and it was such a funny moment, and I'll kind of explain my side of it when the bill comes and both you and me were like ready to pay for it. We kind of talked a little bit about this.
Family system. But now
I love it.
It's all on you, Kenny.
And we talked a little bit about that. And
Yeah.
I mean just the same thing to share with you, like for people listening to this, it's always great, and I find this is what therapy really does, is it allows you to question why you did that.
Right.
It's like, so you did this action. Why did you go about making that decision? Right? And then you're just like, oh, okay? I'll go about.
That's what I'm like. I don't know, Catherine. Why don't you tell me? Because that's why I'm sitting here paying you.
You're supposed to give me the answers. Little do you know, you're talking the entire time. It's a podcast off air. But like, I remember for myself too. It's like, yeah, like I remember telling you my reason. I kind of share it again for everyone else. But it's like for me, it's like I always felt like I needed to take care of it.
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm in that situation. I'm the person that like, you know, with my upbringing and everyone telling me like, oh, you should appear like you have the money, so just give it whether you have it or not and figure it out after.
Right.
But now as an adult, I just recognize that, okay, that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Like in some capacity, it's like, again, if someone kind of similar to you, if they're willing to give it to you, do it. But in some circumstances, be willing to give it when you have it.
Right.
Then it doesn't feel like it burns or stings after.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome. I really
Thank you.
appreciate you sharing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Outside of that, this has been amazing. Honestly.
Yes. I
I'm
could
not-
keep talking.
We can. Is there anything else top of mind?
No.
Like what?
that's all.
Like right now for you, where are you taking your life in 10 to 20 years? Because I know there's two things. If you want me to remind them, I could tell.
Oh, yeah, I do
But like,
remember.
I remember them. I loved it, and I want to know if you want to mention it, or if I should say it first.
Oh, the foster parenting?
Yes.
Yes.
The 20
I-
foster kids, you and Angelina Jolie getting together. Brad Pitt's out of the scene now. You're like, I'll try something new.
Yeah.
Angelina, come on down.
Right?
Let's have our
Oh,
foster
man.
kids.
You know, I recently inquired about it, but my colleague Jeff said, "What? Like when? When are you gonna find time to do that?"
Yeah.
I always make time. So
Yeah.
Jeff, I will always figure it out. I would love to work with youth. I think that's 20 year, I'm not sure yet. I've only got like to 5 years. I know
That's fair.
exactly what's happening
That's
up
awesome.
to the 5 year mark, but I really want to work with youth. You know, and probably because of my childhood story,
Yeah.
right? I do believe, as I mentioned earlier, that everything happens for a reason. So I can't help but feel that everything that I had gone through from the age of like 10 to 15 and some pretty traumatic experiences, I am so grateful for every single one of them. And I can't help but feel that was meant for something bigger. I was meant to do something with those experiences. So if it means, you know, getting into foster care or working with youth in whatever capacity, I'm all for that. I think that's sort of the 3 to 5 year mark. I think that's, and sooner if possible. Definitely want to write a book. I think that, again, the experiences I've had over the last 30 years need to be shared. And I keep growing the biz.
Wow.
I'm gonna get
I
these
love that.
shops
That's a triple
everywhere.
threat right there.
Yeah.
I'm picturing this like wellness ashram meditative space program for youth 0 to 12 years old. You know,
Fun.
like that's
I
something where
like
you
that.
got the elephants on the wall. You got the nice like slow Indian
I feel
flute
like you're there
music.
somewhere.
I'm gonna have my legs crossed and I'm gonna be bald at that point and I'm gonna have a mustache. That's it.
Right.
And I'm just gonna tell everyone to go.
Story time, guys.
It'll be awesome. Little kids running around. It'll be paradise. It'll be
Right?
paradise, right? So you got that, and then you have your book, New York Times bestseller. That's when you're gonna get on Oprah's podcast.
Amazing.
You're gonna be like, all right,
Can't
second
wait.
floor.
Yeah,
I mean, I gotta
yeah.
get
Second floor.
floor.
Wait, sounds familiar.
Yeah, I don't remember second floor.
Never. Never.
Yeah.
Never.
And then no, that's amazing, and I know you're gonna make all that happen.
Oh,
And
thanks.
you know, I want to tee off on this. There's two very important questions that yes, they're broad. It's gonna be a challenge,
Okay.
but we ask pretty much every guest this, and it's always unique to find the answer because it's like I find it's finding out what naturally makes that person tick, and it's what makes you in a sense from that entrepreneurial perspective. So every guest we bring on, right? We believe they indoctrinate this level of elevating in life and in business and in health and in fitness, and it's you do whatever it takes to always take it to the next level. So with you being on the second floor, with anyone who's like admired by what you're doing and they're listening to this and you know they want to open up the next KB&Co, they want to embody what you're doing in some capacity. what do you believe it takes to get to the second floor? To get to the next level?
Oh, to your desire for it to be greater than your fear for it. Does that make sense? The desire, the want for it? Or was that
Yeah, no, wait, hold on. So the desire for it or to be greater than the fear?
Yeah, if there's fear-based stuff going on in order to get to that next level.
Yeah.
Does that make
So
sense?
it's like you have this, you believe that the desire for it should be more hungrier than the actual fear you have of whether or not
Right.
you're going to make it happen.
Right.
Oh, I like that. It's just like,
I think that's, there's fear in a lot of things we do, right? There's still
Yeah.
fear in like coming here today. I'm like,
Yeah.
what to expect?
What are we gonna talk
But-
about?
But to wherever you're going, to get to that second floor podcast, to whatever it is that you're chasing, to that, like you said, the hunger has to be greater than your fear,
mhm.
clearly.
No, wow, I love that.
Yeah.
And then lastly, this is something now that we're rolling into season 2, mainly being that we're, primarily health, wellness, and fitness based, and you represent that with the health conscious, eats you have at KB&Co. I want to ask you, what's like one tip you could give everybody where it's like that one thing they could do to optimize their health and fitness every day? Something that you feel like you do. It's like a nice little, it doesn't have to be make sure you run, make sure you sweat,
Oh,
do
no,
your push-ups,
I've already
but
got the answer.
yes?
Hashtag eat plants.
Yes! There it
Eat
is,
plants.
baby. Eat plants.
Plants.
Tell us about Eat Plants.
Trademarked.
Yeah, literally.
Literally trademarked.
What's-
My lawyer was like, "Don't you want to? I think we should trademark your logo and
Yeah.
the name of the business." I said, "Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Right now, I just want to trademark Eat Plants." Like 3 years ago, he's like, "What? What for?" Well,
Well, now we
so
know.
we've created.
Can you
Yeah.
tell us about Eat Plants?
Yeah, the phrase, which is just eat plants. It kind of, I think when we launched it, or launched our sweaters, the apparel side of things, I didn't think it was going to take off as much as it did, but it did. It just like, we got a small inventory into the store, just the one store at the time, and they flew off the shelf. And we actually started another apparel company that will do a number of like totes, bags, hats, sweaters, plant-based. Oh, I was going to wear it today. Plant-based babe, eat plants.
Plant-based babe.
So I've got
That
a
is
plant-based
sick.
babe. I know a lot of guys are like, how about plant-based bra? I'm
No,
like, yeah, okay, I'll work on the, you'll be
plant-based
babe.
Why not? A real man will wear plant-based babe.
Yes, we'll get you a plant-based babe sweater. I actually have one at the store. I was like, we'll get
Which
him.
one do
We'll
we
just,
give
yeah, we'll start with this one.
I love how
We'll
you
work
thought about
away.
it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool. And some of this
Yes.
stuff, how can we order it? How can people purchase it?
You can find them in stores. So the stores have just the Eat Plant sweaters, and then we're actually revamping our website to have the shopping component on there, so
For
people
online
can just
ordering.
for online ordering, and they'll come out of Edmonton. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really
Congrats.
exciting.
It doesn't
Yeah,
stop.
thank
It
you.
just
No, I
doesn't stop.
just-
It keeps going. Well, you know what? Hey, I want to acknowledge you, Christina. I find that, I hope people can feel it when they're listening and when they're watching, but just being in the same room as you is honestly such a huge honor. It's a pleasure.
Oh,
And
thank you.
You have such just a high energy. You're so bubbly. You're so bright. You really are very present. And that's something I really appreciate about you. And I find that
Thank you.
through everything you talked about today, through just channeling in your emotions and making sure that you meditate and that you pretty much manifest what you want, and that's clearly something you do. It comes natural even when it comes to having a conversation with somebody. So please, whatever you do, stay close.
Yes, of
let's keep
course.
connecting.
Yes.
And wherever anyone would like to continue seeing your journey, where can they find you?
They could probably hit me up on my personal Instagram.
Nice.
Hey, it's me, KB.
DMs are welcome.
DMs are
Just
welcome.
be my
Yeah,
friend.
takes me a while to get back to them, but but yeah, no, I still, I love getting feedback through my personal Instagram. I get a lot of inquiries about where to start with a plant-based diet, and into questions like what books are good to read if I'm looking at this visualization and manifestation process. So will take a bit of time to get back to you, but I love it and will always get back to people. I wrote a message back to a girl the other day. I didn't know that was like this long. And I'm like, okay, I even said at the end, I'm rambling. I could tell you more, but just let me know if you need more information. So I hope that I can always sustain that and maintain that. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, like we always like to say on the Second Floor podcast, we talk about how to survive, how to thrive, how to keep the good vibes going in life, business, health, and fitness. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
being here. Yeah, that's a wrap.
Loved it.